Hey, what's up? And welcome to today's Friday Live. I'm Karwanna D, your government contract strategist. And for the past few years, I've been teaching several small business owners across the whole United States how to get started with government contracts to grow their business. And today I want to share with you the exact steps that I took to land my first contract because I think it's important that you understand the process and the system and sometimes the stories that comes behind those successes. And this is something that actually led me to discovering what I coined the $1 trillion secret to government contracts for small business, and I'm so excited to share this with you here today. Hi Latoya. Hi Dr. Latoya. Hi Willie Wagner from it says Citywide Transport. Hello, how are you? Welcome and thank you so much for joining. If you're watching from Facebook, if you're joining from Facebook, be sure to click on the link that says StreamYard so that I can see your name. If you're joining me from YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you can receive notifications of when I'm coming live again. Hi, Cheryl. Hello, and good afternoon, right? It's almost afternoon here at least. So today I'm going to share with you all. Hey, Sharita. How I landed my first contract. So I want to take you a little bit behind the scenes, because I think again those stories are important, so you can really understand how the whole thing worked. And so this great discovery about government contract is something that not only changed my life, but it helped me to just it changed the way that I view small businesses and just in general, as well as like what's possible for small businesses. And it's the one thing that helped me to build, of course, a legacy, as well as a really amazing portfolio, as well as a step-by-step blueprint and strategy to help other small business owners learn about government contracting and how to get started the right way. But I do want to say my first few attempts at government contracting, when I first started, like I did it all wrong. I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't really know what I was doing. There was no blueprint laid out for me. And so that's why I designed the blueprint to help and lay out those steps like for other small people. I'm sorry, small business owners. It's a Friday. Okay, so but initially what I thought if you're certified, you should just like the next step is to just start bidding, right? And I see that a lot. I see a lot of people saying, I got my certifications, or maybe most small business owners will say, I'm SAM certified. What do I do next? Do I just start bidding or whatever? But what I didn't understand back then, like when I first got started, was that there's more, right? There's a lot more to it than just being certified and bidding on things. There's like a whole strategy, right? There's a whole system, there's methodologies, there's approaches, there's strategies. Like, in order for it to work the right way, you really have to understand how it really works. And so basically, I wanted to share my story about the journey of landing my first contract and exactly what I did. So knowing and understanding now that I was doing everything, wrong initially. Hi Trey. Hi Tawanda. Hey Amari. Hi Sheik. I was doing everything wrong initially. I have to take a step back and really look and see like what is it that I'm doing wrong. Because before, what I would do is, I'm like, I'm certified. Let me just start bidding, right? And of course, I wasn't getting any responses. I was being rejected, and I couldn't figure out why. I didn't know, and I didn't even know the strategy to ask, right? To ask why and to try to figure that part out. Hi, good morning, Monique. How are you? I didn't even know that, there was a system and a strategy to figuring out like why am I being denied, or why am I not hearing back? It's because, I was just doing it all wrong. Right. So like I said, think I mentioned this before. Hi, Carmelita. I was just basically submitting bids, right? And to things that I was not even qualified for. And I was submitting bids from a subcontractor perspective, but as a prime. And so I didn't know that there was a difference, right? And I just kind of put it together and threw it out there. So I didn't have no strategy, no system or anything. So after I took a step back and really start looking at like what am I doing wrong? What have I been doing consistently to get these results, right? Which are were the results that I did not want. I generally came up with a new strategy and a system, right? I call it the 3-step system and strategy that actually works. It's the 3-step BCP system, right? And BCP stands for Business Foundation, Certification, and Proposal. So ideally, I say, okay, well, I've been doing it this way, so let me try this. Let me try with the BCP system, and see if it works. And eventually it did, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. So in between, like generally, you can look at government contracting from that 3-step perspective, right? Business foundation, certifications, and then you can propose. But what I discovered was there's a bunch of different micro steps in between those 3 phases. There's a bunch of different micro steps that you have to take in order to be successful, in order to actually get results and to get responses, right? There's a bunch of different micro steps that were important, and I was missing the mark. So I don't know how many of you or already or have been attempting to submit bids, and then maybe you have had that same experience where you hear crickets, there's no responses, there's no there's declines and there's rejections, and you don't really know, you can't figure it out. But it's the micro steps that's missing, right? Those little micro things that you have to do. Those micro steps includes things like strategy and approaches, like all the little things that you need to know about your marketing plan. Like, how are you marketing yourself? What services do you actually have to offer and leverage? Like, all of those things are important. Like, how are you leveraging your skills to be a part of a project or to even get opportunities for your own self, for your business? And so once I understood that, then the results started to come in. And so I would say a few years ago, it's probably over 8 years, maybe, or so. I would say a little over 8 years ago, I attempted this new approach to government contracting, right? And this is without even really knowing, but just kind of studying what I've done wrong and trying to figure out a different approach, right, to getting it done right. And so let me see who's on here. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Monique and Brenda. All right, cool. Good morning, everyone. And so, okay, so I was DBE certified, right? So for those of you who are already getting your feet wet in, getting certified, and you know a little bit about it, and you're DBE certified, that's the disadvantaged business enterprise. That is a certification that's provided by, of course, the Department of Transportation. But there's like a whole scope of different types of certifications, and once you understand the different types of certifications, the agencies that does the certifications, their goals, right, and how to leverage those certifications to open up opportunities, then you can begin the journey, right, to knowing how to approach an opportunity for yourself. Elizabeth, hey Elizabeth. Hi, let me see. Shalimar, hello. Hi, Brenda. Sharita, yep. Sharita says sign up. You drop your link. Sharita. So cool. So here we are. Department of Transportation. I was DBE certified, but I had all what we call the alphabet soup, right? So I had all the different certifications. I'm MBE, I'm WBE, I'm LBE, I'm like micro small business. Like I had them all, right? And so unfortunately, some small business owners don't know more beyond SAM, right? They get in SAM and they think that's it. And I do want to say that if you're only SAM certified, you're missing 99% of the whole process and the whole strategy. You're missing all the rest. If you're only going to beta.SAM, which most likely you're not going to find very many opportunities, because by the time an opportunity gets to beta.SAM, it's like the last pickings, because there's so many other strategies and ways around to getting opportunities with the federal government. And if you get those opportunities and understand those strategies, those opportunities never even appear on beta.SAM because you backdoored it. So like I said, if that's all there's so much more that you're missing. But anyway, thank you so much. I'm excited that you're here as well. There was also, okay, so there was a Department of Transportation. I was DBE certified, and there was an opportunity, right? There was a contract coming down the pipeline, right? And this particular contract was, I'm in San Francisco, California. So this particular contract was actually the Transbay Transit Center. That's the new Salesforce. That's like the Grand Central Transportation Hub of San Francisco. So they were building it brand new structure, right? And this actually happens to be a $6 billion project, right? For a new design, new everything. So there was going to be And they broke out the package into construction, into architecture, into structural steel. Like they had all of these different pieces of the pot, that they were going to be given to local small business owners. But also the key thing about understanding certifications and your leverage was like this particular project was funded federally, locally, regionally, and by the state. So if you've worked with me inside my program, then you know what that means. That means that if it's federally funded, that means if you have your SAM certification, which is a federal certification, whether it's SAM or woman-owned small business or economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business, then you qualify, right? If it's regionally, like that's in your state, then you know you have that state certification, then you know you have that leverage, then you qualify, right? If it's local and you're locally certified, then you know you have all this leverage, right? And so I started to understand leverage and understanding projects that will come along that were going to be funded. I wanted to know, well, who's funding what, right? And so once you understand who's funding what, you can take a look back, a step back and look at, okay, well, I got the federal, I got the, local, I got the state, I got all these different certifications. And so I know on all these different levels of government, they each have goals, right? 26%, 17%, 50%, or, and they always exceed their goals. And so I knew I had a lot of leverage because I was, I had all the whole alphabet soup, right? And so anyway, so the next step that I took was finding out, well, who are going to be the players in this project? And so this was a huge project. They had already just kind of shortlisted who the primes were going to be, right? Which means that they had already gone through like the procurement process and just selecting who the main general prime contractors were going to be. So what does that mean for me as a subcontractor or someone who offers a small scope of services? Well, I identified who the players are, right? I was able to identify who the players are, but not only that, because these projects and these players had to play by the game and had to play by the rules and had to abide by the goals on these projects, then I know I had leverage because I had all those certifications, and so I can help them meet all of their goals, right? So I knew then that the next part was to not only identify who the players were, but to figure out my approach to leveraging my certifications to be a part of that project. And so the next part was identifying like my scope of work, right? So even sometimes when you go to bidding sourcing sites like beta.sam or wherever sites you're going to look for opportunities at, sometimes you're not going to see something that specifically says what you do, right? And even on a project like this, sometimes it's not going to specifically say they're looking for your skill set, right? But if you have that leverage, then you know how to negotiate opportunities and open up doors for yourself by communicating. So for me, what I did was I created a scope of work that I know, because of this historical, this is a historical project. I created a scope of work, right, that I know was going to be needed on this particular project, a skill set that I already had, a service that I was already doing, had background in it, and was offering. I knew, although it was not listed as a scope of work, I knew that they were going to be needing that scope of work. And as well, I had my leverage, right, which meant that it's going to help them get kickbacks and get awards and get funded faster and stuff like that by leveraging me as a certified disadvantaged business enterprise business owner that was not only local but regional and state certified as well. So anyway, that particular scope of work was photography, right? And we're talking about photography on a construction site. And so, and that's just progress photography. Now, mind you, 8 years ago, there was only one person doing that. And it was a senior citizen lady who had took over for her husband. It was only one person. It was a lady, an elderly lady. And she was probably like in her late 60s. So I knew she was going to be retiring soon. So I'm like, open door, for me for this particular niche based scope of work. And so now, because I've carved out this lane, and I'm still the only female African American female that's doing this scope of work. But now you're hearing more about construction photographers, right? That's more businesses are popping up with that niche based thing because they discovered some things, right? They discovered that number one, there's a Black girl out there getting money for that. So hey, let me go in there and do it, But also they discovered that this is a very necessary service as well. So anyway, long story short, so I submitted a bid package, right, for initially one for 70,000, one for 80,000, one for 40,000. So I submitted a bid package, and I just kind of made up the pricing because at that time I was brand new to bidding on projects, and I had no idea, what they were willing to pay. I had no idea how to price any type of services, but I knew with the scope of work, this is like at minimum what I'm going to do. So I did different pricing for the different primes, right? So I submitted a bid to each prime, or not a bid. I submitted more so a proposal to each prime, appealing with my certifications and the scope of work and what I can do and how this, why this is important for this project and how this can help. And eventually I learned that there's a division, I think it's like division 1 or something like that. There's like within construction, within their like their I don't know if it's laws or within their contract, there's like a division 1 something, at least here in California, where it's a rule, that they got to take pictures and stuff like that. And so eventually I learned that, but I didn't know that at this time. But anyway, so I bidded with like about 5 different primes that I knew were going to be bidding on this project. They all listed me. Actually, one of them won the contract. And so here's the thing. When you are a subcontractor, or when you're, if you decide to be a subcontractor on a project, number one, you have to keep track, right? You have to keep track of who you're bidding with, but also follow up to see if they won and all that stuff. But anyway, I didn't even know that they won. I didn't know. Like I submitted a bid, and I figured, I was so brand new that I figured that, if they win it, they'll call me, or if they win it, they'll email me. But some of them, not all primes are created equal. Some of them, they won't let you know, because, they'll take your piece of the pie and, give it to somebody on their team or something else, right? Because that's just the way the cookie rolls. It's the way it is. But anyway, I did not even know that I had won the contract, because the prime contractor won. So if they win, you win, right? So if you're listing yourself under a general contractor, or with a prime, no matter what industry it's in, if they win, you win, right? And so they had listed it, and how I found out was, some of my colleagues that were, in the construction management business for forever, they were like, oh, congratulations. Everybody was like congratulating me. And I'm like, for what? Like, I don't even know what y'all talking about. Oh, I see that you won a bid. I see all these different firms listed you and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I didn't want to make it seem like I didn't know what I was doing. But because I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm going to figure out who listed me and who I won with. And I was like, so what company was that again? That type of thing. But anyway, I discovered that the firm that actually listed me for, initially they listed me for $40,000, because that was the one that I bidded 40,000 with. But during the negotiation process, they wanted me to, offer more services, or to do additional things aside from taking pictures. They wanted time lapse, and they wanted like some other things. And so I negotiated that contract up to $70,000. And so basically, ideally, that's how I landed my first $70,000 contract for just 28 days of work. And so that, for me, that was very powerful. And when that happened, because I didn't know that I had won, it had been like months, it had been like a few months, like 3 or 4 months before I even, signed the contract, because I had to reach out to them and say, well, I see that I won this bid, or, I won this piece of the pie, whatever. What's next? What are the next steps? And so I had to kind of do some self-advocating to even get a contract signed. So what I didn't know then is that during the contract signing process, of course, that is a place where you negotiate. You negotiate your terms of services, like when you're going to get paid, your invoicing, process. You negotiate the exact services you're going to offer, what's not included, if anything, if they want anything else, what your hourly rate above those, services that you're offering within the contract, what your hourly rate is going to be above that. So that's negotiating, right? Understanding your rights and all that stuff. And so, but anyway, it turned out to be a really great experience, a first time learning experience. Some of the things that they were asking, of course, I didn't have real experience in doing like the video time lapse. I mean, I've done one before, but I didn't have video time lapse equipment, so I had to go get some equipment and all that stuff. But all of that was a learning experience, and it was a very profitable first time contract. It was very profitable. But the first thing that came to my mind was, can I do this again? But also, why don't people know about this? And why don't small business owners know about this? Every small business owner should be doing this. And if you can land a $70,000 contract for 28 days of work, just imagine if this is something that you were doing full time, like how profitable could your business be? And so basically, that's when I designed what I call the $1 trillion secret, to government contracts. And I laid out all the steps, of course, to the 3-step strategy, all the micro steps in between, what to do, what not to do, how to strategically get opportunities and open up doors and look through opportunities. There's so much to learn about government contracting and to so that you can succeed, right? Because you don't want to just be certified, right? What good is that? What good is certifications without a check, right? Without actually getting contracts, without actually understanding the whole system, the process, and how it works. It's just going through the motions, right? Nobody wants to just go through the motions. We're doing this for a purpose, and the purpose is to really get paid, right? To grow your business, to generate revenue, to be able to take care of your family and all that stuff. And so anyway, I was actually recognized as one of the successful woman-owned, African American-owned local small business owners who played a crucial role in documenting history. Now that was big for me. Like, the photos that I took is like a part of history. And I'm like, one day it's going to be a part of the historical archives, and one day it's going to be in the history books because I'm on this historical monumental project. And since then, I mean, of course, I've been a part of several historical monumental projects, and being a documentist, a photography documents of that build out, and that that evolution of construction within the city. And so I wanted to share my screen for a second. Let me see if I can share. This is the one that I want to share. So here we are. I'm gonna share my screen for just a quick second. So this is it. So this is the Transbay Transit project, and so this is a $6 billion project that I was actually acknowledged to be a part of this $6 billion project as a minority small business owner, right? And this is something that I knew that government contracting was possible. I knew that this was the real secret to success as a small business owner. I knew those things. I just didn't know the steps, right? But after years of making mistakes and failing forward and all those things, I discovered the steps. I discovered those strategies, and I learned how to do it the right way. And this was like the first sense of proof to me that it actually works, right? It actually works. And so this was back in I don't know what year this was. But anyway, they talk about like how I was actually capturing history, and this that the work that I've done is going to be in the history books and stuff like that. And so I was just really, 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 really honored to be a part of something so historical, right? So if you have an opportunity to be a part of anything that's going on, whether they're building new infrastructure, right? So they have so much money going into building freeways and highways and hospitals and all these things that's going on. And even no matter what scope of work that you have to offer is very valuable, right? Everything, like you can sell bottle of water, you can sell bottles of water and make millions of dollars, right? In construction, period, point blank. It is, you could sell a pen, a piece of paper, and still make millions of dollars in government contracting, right? So there's so many opportunities, but people fail to understand the strategy because they want to try to figure it out. And you can eventually, because I figured it out, but it took me years to figure it out. But nobody has real years to try to figure out something when there's a blueprint. It's already been done. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's a blueprint and a strategy to getting it done the right way. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let me see. What are the first steps to subcontracting? So the first steps is really identifying an opportunity, but you definitely have to be, of course, in position, right? So there's like, are you in position? Are you already a government contractor? Are you already certified? Are you certified on all levels? Like, it just depends on how ready are you. Do you have a capability statement? Do you have a marketing strategy? Like, there's a lot of things that go into it. But the first step really is to, once you can answer those questions and know where you stand, then it will be, what opportunities are you looking at? Let me see. What other questions we have. Good afternoon. How do you certify for these different certifications? So yeah, so and that's it's always going to be different, right? So the way that you get certified is different depending on the agency, depending on the city, the level of government. Like, there it's all different types of ways. But ideally, there's like a main list of different types of certifications. That is the minority business enterprise, the woman business enterprise, the local small business enterprise, the federal, small business enterprise, the woman-owned small business, which is also the economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. There's like a whole host of them, but you have to just kind of see like where you are in your business and which ones make sense, like to you. If you are woman, minority, disadvantaged, and all those stuff, like you definitely want to maximize on all those different types of opportunities that you qualify for. Let me see. Where can we locate the certifications needed to get certified? Needed to get certified, getting ready. Tawanda. Okay, cool. Hi, Tawanda. So I mean, where can you locate the certifications? Well, I have, let me see. I think we have a checklist, I think, somewhere. I don't know where it is right now, but we have a checklist. I'll post it. But anyway, so basically, where can you locate the certificate? It's going to be the agency. So if you are looking to get locally certified, you check with your city and county, right? So it just depends on the agency. If you're looking to be certified with the Department of Transportation, of course, you go to the Department of Transportation. They do the DBE, and so ideally, you just have to kind of know where you're trying to get certified and go to that appropriate agency. And there are some trainings, on that in particular inside the Facebook group. Who puts me on Gsa Schedule? So so Royce, good question. Once position, who puts me on which GS wait, who puts me on which Gsa Schedule? So Gsa Schedule is something totally different from like everything else. Like, it's I mean, it's a little bit more advanced, but if you're not, basically the GSA schedule is actually like, you have a special pricing, right, for the government. It's like a federal go-to list of, you know a payment schedule or whatever that you can get on. That's actually, you would have to check with the GSA, right, to and you put yourself on there. There's a process to putting yourself on that particular schedule. But you definitely want to know, like, if it will be advantageous for you to do that. When bidding, do you include the wages for your staff? Yeah. So good question. So yeah. So when I first won my bid, it wasn't, I didn't have staff. It was just me. Ideally it was me, but my husband actually came out with me because he was more familiar with the construction world. So I didn't know anything about rebar, and they had all these terminologies and places that I needed to take pictures of. I'm like, I don't know what that is. He's like, don't worry, I got you. But then I learned, right? I was on the job getting paid to learn, right? So I was doing it and learning it at the same time. I didn't know the first thing about reading blueprints, and I had to read blueprints. I was like, so my husband was like, I got your back. And so he was actually, there with me in the trenches, helping me understand the blueprints, all that stuff. But then, like, a little bit after that, I landed another similar contract, but it was probably like a little bit more. It's like a little, maybe double the price or whatever, but it was a little bit more. And then I landed another one. Then they started coming simultaneously, right? All at the same time. I'm on this project, this project, this project. And so that's why I say, when you're in business, you got to be doing business with the government, right? Because those contracts come simultaneously. They're large contracts. It is part-time. You can just really have a multiple six-figure or even $1 million business less than part-time, depending on your scope of work and what you do, right? So I mean, of course, if you're a contractor, you already coming in with $1 million contracts or $1 billion contracts. If you're electrician, of course, you're coming in with multiple six-figure contracts and stuff like that. So depending on what you do, that first contract could just be it for you, right? But anyway, I learned along the way. I learned about reading blueprints. I learned about the language and all that stuff. Started landing contracts simultaneously, and so now I'm an expert. So I can show other people how, not only how to do it, but I can also show real other photographers like how to get paid real dollars, right? And so recently, I don't know if you guys seen the post, but I mean, I recently identified and saw like, they were paying like 30,000 for like to edit a 5-minute video. It's things like that, right? Those things are valuable nuggets when you really understand your value. Then it kind of eliminates the need for you to chase customers. It eliminates the need for you to be a struggling business owner, and it actually gives you the epiphany that, okay, so if this is all true and these are opportunities that are true, then what they say about small business owners getting started and expecting 2 years to make a profit, like all of that stuff goes out the window when you understand systems and strategies and processes, and you understand how to do this effectively. You could be profitable within your first 6 months in business, right? Or highly profitable within your first 3 to 6 months. It depends on you and the pace that you go at and how serious you are about building your business. So, so you did ask. So to answer the question about when bidding, do you include the wages for your staff? Yeah, you include every expense, right? So, like I was saying before, for me, it was just me, right? So, my husband say I don't never pay him, but I do. He get paid, but it was just me, and so I didn't have a staff to include those expenses, but you do learn that and this is why like the bid template that I kind of rolled out, the bid estimating template that I kind of rolled out a few months ago, like that is so key. And I got that from a billionaire, right? Somebody who does billions of dollars annually in government contracts. A bid estimating tip, it helps you understand, like, if it's going to cost you money to park your car, to travel with gas, like if it's going to cost you money to do the job, you include all that. If you have to go get hard materials or equipment, or if you have to hire staff or whatever it is, whatever your expenses are, you want to build all of that into your bid. You want to make sure that you are actually profitable and not in the red. So whatever your expenses are, you definitely want to include everything. So anyway, so that's basically the story behind how I landed my first contract, my first government contract, which made me a believer that it works. Here I am, 8 years, maybe 9 years later, I'm still doing it. But not only am I still doing it part-time, earning more than a full-time income, doing it, but I'm also able to share my strategies, right, and the system and the processes with other small business owners, so they don't have to take years to try to figure it out. They don't have to stumble and make mistakes. They don't have to try to understand it on their own. You have someone who can teach you. And so basically, I have a few spots open inside my $1 trillion government contracts accelerator program, where 6 weeks we teach you the whole system strategy. We have a business success accountability partner who makes sure that you're accountable and you're implementing the steps and strategies. They check in with you weekly. We have weekly Q&As where I come on and help you. But the whole process is laid out for you so you can get there faster, right? It doesn't have to take you 2 years to try to figure it out. It can take you 6 weeks to get yourself in position, right? To implement and get yourself in position. For some, maybe a little bit longer, but within the first 6 months, you can already be on your way. In fact, some of my clients, I've had one in particular land a contract within her first 5 weeks, right, of being in position. And so everybody's journey is going to be different. Everybody's first experience is going to be different. Everybody's, my first contract was 70,000. Yours may be 70 million, depending on your scope of work. It's always going to be different, right? Sharia said the bid template is truly valuable and saves you so much time. It does. Yes. How do you locate government contracts? Hi, Lakeisha. And how many have you been able to help? Yeah, so I've helped thousands of small business owners across the United States. So I help everyone, like, all across the U.S. Get started with government contracts. So several. There's been thousands, and this year I'm looking to increase those numbers. Right, to my goal is to reach 1,000. In the year of 2021, because especially during the pandemic. So here's the big thing. This is the reason why I'm so passionate about sharing this particular subject and these strategies and these secrets and the insights to government contracts for small business owners, because number one, small business owners are so key and so valuable. The reason why they have these programs in the first place is because it's small business owners that moves the economy. It's the small business owners that are becoming employers of tomorrow and employing people and stimulating the economic, economy, like locally and all that stuff. And so when you're a small business owner, when you thrive, when you're able to thrive, your community, the community that you're in, thrives as well, because you're contributing to your community, or you have the opportunity to contribute to your community in a major way. So you can be the beacon of light for when gentrification is happening, or when people are struggling during pandemics and whatever. You can be the beacon of light in your community if you remain thriving. And the only real way to thrive in today's economy is to have a business that is fail proof, right? Some type of business model or some type of hand in government contracting, because that's something that never goes away. That's something that is going to help you sustain your business. That's going to help you really grow your business and grow it like by leaps and bounds. Like seriously, you're getting away from chasing customers, individual customers, and being vulnerable to economic downfalls. When people are struggling, then they start eliminating, right, things that are unnecessary, eliminating services and all that stuff. But the government, when there's a pandemic and economic downfall, they put more money into the economy. They spend more money. Like proof, here's the proof. In 2019, when was that? Last year was 2020. So 2019, the government, the federal government alone, right? We're not talking about state, we're not talking about local, city, counties, none of that stuff. Just federal government alone spent 6.6 trillion in 2020. Now we know the pandemic started at least March 2020. The government spent $9.9 trillion on small business services and products. That's $3 trillion more, right? So that tells you they're spending more money. And in this year, I expect them to spend even more money. And so if you're a small business owner, you're not doing government contracting, you're not doing business with the government, or you haven't figured out how to do it correctly, then you are leaving a lot of money on the table. And so that's why I do really, 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 really highly recommend that, if you're ready, if you're serious, if you're willing to do the work, if you're ready to learn how to do it, and you really want accountability and somebody who really wants to see you succeed, then join me inside the program. It's $1 trillion government contracts accelerator. You can sign up or apply to sign up at qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. Again, qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. You'll actually be able to schedule a call with my team who'll do a deep dive into your business. And so we know exactly who we're working with, right? Because this is not for everybody and not just anybody can get inside the program. It's those who we know we can help, period, point blank. If we can't help you or don't feel like we can help you, then we'll let you know this is not the right time, right? Or maybe it's not a good fit, right? But if we can help, we'll definitely welcome you into the program. So any questions before I go? Business, I meant. How many have you been able to help? Oh, businesses. Yeah. So yeah, thousands of businesses. Should my contracts have a capability statement? Wait, should my contract have a capability statement? If so, what do the feds want to see? Hi Royce. Well, I may have said hi to you already, but so your contracts are different from capability statement. A capability statement is a standalone marketing tool. That's it. That it has nothing to do with a contract. It's just a tool that you can use to proactively market your services. And then what do the feds want to see? I don't know. It depends. It depends on your marketing strategy. So what do they want to see? They just want you to respond, right? So if there's a contracting opportunity, then they want you to respond according to what they're asking for. So basically, they want to see that you're responsive. They want to see that that you've read what they're asking for and that you understand the scope of work that they're asking for. And then they also sometimes they want to see competitive pricing, right? They want to know, that you understand how to do business, with the government. They want to they want to know all that stuff. So repeat the website. I'll drop it in here in the chat as well. So it's qualify for governmentcontracts.com. I dropped it in the chat, the link. So it's qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. So that is where you go to apply, to enroll, to work with me inside the $1 trillion government contracts accelerator. And seriously, you got to be ready, because, you know, you got to roll up your sleeves and be ready to seriously take a look at government contracts, to get the work done, to do the implementation. And I'm here to help you and support you along the way, right? Each step along the way. But you can get there faster, and you can actually get the results when you put in the work, right? So that's something that definitely you want to consider. So how do you formulate a proposal to how do you formulate a proposal to grow your business with contracts? So Keisha, that's a really good question, and thank you for joining. So how do you formulate a proposal? So basically, you can't formulate a proposal without looking at an opportunity, right? So when you look at an opportunity, they give you the proposal format. They tell you, this is how I want you to respond. We want your executive summary. We want your, your organizational chart. We want to know your pricing structure. We want to know. So they tell you, and it's going to be on a case by case basis. So I remember, when I said that earlier, when I was doing it all the wrong way, it's because I formulated a proposal ahead of time, right? And I thought if I put together this cookie cutter proposal, I could just be it with that. And then that's why I was getting rejected. That's why I was not getting any responses, because I did it all wrong. But the truth of the matter is, I learned that you have to read each opportunity, and there's different types of opportunities. And depending on that type of opportunity, you have to respond differently, right? You can't respond to a request for a proposal the same way you will respond to a request for quote or request for qualification. Is all different. And so those are all the strategies that I teach, of course, inside the program. So I don't see the website link. I don't know. So the website link, I'm gonna drop it again. Qualify for government. I'm trying to spell, y'all. governmentcontracts.com. I think I wrote it right. So www.qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. So if you just go to qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com, the site will come up. Oh, thank you, Stacia. She just posted it. Oh, there we go. So I'm gonna put this one because it's just easier. Qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. I forgot that I could do that. I forgot I could put it up on the screen. That's crazy. Okay. So LaDonna. So LaDonna wants to know, what is an RFP? So an RFP is a request for a proposal. Yeah. So there's different types of contracting opportunities. Of course, I go into more detail inside the program, and you can really, really learn it. But just like in the little bit of time that I have right here, basically it's a request for a proposal. That's what an RFP is. RFQ is a request for qualifications, and sometimes it's just a simple request for a quote. But then there's other different types of acronyms. There's a lot of things, of course, and micro steps and things that you have, terminologies and all that stuff that you do learn inside, working with me inside the program. But it's very necessary to know what those things are, so you can know what you're looking at and know how to respond to each one accordingly. So let me see. Roy says, so if I respond to an RFP, I will then know how to shape my proposal. Yeah. So so if you respond to an RFP, like each RFP is going to ask you for something different, right? So if you respond, not just respond, but if you read it, like if you read like an RFP, it'll tell you this is what we want. Yeah. So basically, and it's always going to be different, right? So it's just not going to be the same for every RFP. So you can do it that way. All right. So cool. It is 11:45 Pacific Standard Time, of course. And do we have any other questions before I go? Just want to make sure that we have if we have any other questions, that I'm here to address those questions before I bounce off. But I did want to share, and I hope you enjoyed the story about, how I landed my first contract, the ins and outs, what I did, the things that I've learned, along the way, the strategies, like the general steps, and there's micro steps in between, like all of that stuff, of course, matters. But if you are already doing business with the government, if you're a contractor, actually, I want to know if you are already a government contractor. Let me know in the chat. If you're already getting contracts, let me know that as well. Don't forget the link to the certifications. So I'm trying to remember what it is. Like, okay, but I'm gonna post it. I'll post it. Let me see. Let me see if I can find. Oh, actually, I do know it. Let me see. Let me see. I think it is get qualified for government. I just got to look it up real quick. Get qualified. I don't even know what it is, but actually it is get qualified for government contracts. I think it's get qualified. Yep, it is. So you can actually download the checklist at getqualifiedforgovernmentcontracts.com. But you have to put in the www for some reason. Otherwise, it won't work. So you have to put in the www. Getqualifiedforgovernmentcontracts.com. That is where you go to get basically the checklist of the different types of certifications that exist, and to of course work with me inside the program, or to apply to work with us inside the program. You would go to qualifiedforgovernmentcontracts.com. All right. So when will the website be up and running? What web? It's up already. I'm a disabled vet just trying to get in. Yeah. So so I mean, if you're a disabled veteran there, and you have a business, that's a certification. Of course, there's definitely a certification for set aside contracts for you. So many different opportunities. I'm just curious to know, like, what type of services do you offer? Let me know, Tawanda, in the chat, what type of services you offer, but also where are you in the process? If you're just getting started and you will like our help, go to qualifiedforgovernmentcontracts.com. We can help you get started in the process. How do you get a list of services needed by the government? They need everything. So basically, if you sell it, they need it. So let's just put it that way, right? It's not nothing that I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen the government buy toothbrush. Like there's a person that I know personally sells toothbrushes to the government and makes billions of dollars. So if you use it, that's basically my rule of thumb. If you use it, you buy it, you access, you do anything with something, right? They buy it, right? The same way you use lights, they use energy, right? The same way you use the internet, they buy that. Same way you have a computer and you use that for, online access, they do that. The same way you walk on carpet, or you put on tennis shoes to walk out the house, like all that stuff, jackets, and they use it, like everything. It's skincare, all that, like seriously, if you use it, they use it. If you sell it, they buy it, like all those things. There's really no real limit, including like food and all different types of things. So you can you can sell artwork to the government, of course, if you walk into a government building, you'll see pictures and photos, like, the walls are painted, somebody's doing that work. They're contractors. Somebody built those floors or shine the floors, in fact, I was walking through the airport a couple of weeks ago, and I seen a shoe shine station. I was like, that's a contractor. That's a government contractor. Like years ago, I never knew, right? I never even, these are the things that I pay attention to now. I'm like, I never knew. Those are vendors. Like those are small business vendors who have a contract, with the government, and they're in these different positions. Like when you go inside the airport and you buy food, those are vendors. They're small business owners who got a contract, right, to provide food inside the airport. If you go inside, the airport, and I'm just stuck on the airport because I was just amazed because of the way that I view things now and opportunities, and I could see, I just see things differently. And so there was like all of these art displays, beautiful art displays. Those are contractors. Those are contractors who are artists who create whatever it is, who create things, blobs and pictures and like all that stuff. Those are government contractors. They're small business owners. They got a contract to display their art, and probably got millions of dollars to display their art for a period of time. And when you go in, and you see like the lights, the beautiful lights that has like, it looks like people are moving through the lights and all that stuff. Like those are artists. Those are, contractors. Somebody got that contract, right? And so basically, yep, skincare, like everything, like literally, Kuma said, skincare. I have a friend who has a shea butter line. Where can she look? So I mean, it's not about looking, it's about understanding how it works. There's a whole system and strategy, right? You can look all day, but if you don't have the leverage, you don't have the knowledge, the know-how, or whatever, then you're seeing what other people are getting, right? So there's a strategy, there's a system. It's just the way it is. Like, I just really want to prepare you, right? You have to be on the other side. You have to know. You have to be on the inside to really know about these opportunities, right? And so, yes, but definitely, skincare. Like, one of my clients is selling prosthetic wigs to the government. And I mention that all the time because I didn't even know that you could sell wigs to the government. I did not know that, but they do. But when you think about it from a common just from a perspective, like, of just common sense, like, people who served in the Navy, like, they may have, or the Army, they may have had an accident, have surgeries, they lose their hair, maybe they have cancer, or anything, right? And so, yeah, they use those services, medical services. In fact, I'm a part of this networking group called BNI. So it's a networking, like a worldwide networking thing for small business owners. And so, or for business owners in general, not necessarily small, but it's a networking group. And so one of the members inside my group, he was like, you're absolutely right, because and he's a ophthalmologist. I think that's what you call eye doctors that provide glasses and stuff. And so he's like, most of my contracts are from the government. So you're absolutely right. They buy everything in government. And he didn't even realize that what he was doing was government contracting. You're contracting eyeglass services to the government, right? And so, just now I see things differently. Like, I just see things differently, and I try to open up your eyes and try to help you. Like, when you drive on a freeway, that freeway didn't just get there, right? Those are not employees that are building that. Those are contractors, right? When you are driving down the street and there's construction going on and there's flaggers, those are contractors, maybe employers of contractors, right? Traffic sign agencies, and all of that stuff. All of that like, everything matters. When you go to the DMV, right? That's a contracted agent. I mean, that's an agency, but the services provided inside the agency is provided by contractors. And so, anyway, are cost plus contracts allowed? I don't know what that means. Cost plus contracts. I'm just not sure. I don't know what that means. Sorry. But anyway, I got to go. Military background, 20 years, program management and training, business, provide financial literacy, credit repair, transitioning services for vets. So that's a lot. So all of those different areas of business. Of course, there's different types of contracting opportunities I've seen. Especially right now, there's so many, not only contracting opportunities, but like grants for any type of services to veterans home. Like, I've seen a lot. I see them all the time. So anyway, LaDonna is so go to qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. It all depends on what you're looking for, your business, and what level of assistance you will like help with in your business to get started with government contracts. So the best place for you to go is to qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. So it all depends. Okay. All right. So anyway, that is my spiel for today. Is the 6 week? No, it's not. It's not the masterclass. Nope. It's actually, we're rolling up our sleeves and we're working, right? So a masterclass is completely different, because it's just it's information about what, right? So a masterclass basically is information breaking down what, right? And that's something that probably lasts 30 to 60 minutes or so. Some master classes are a little bit longer, but a program, like a coaching program, is beyond the what. It's the how, and it's the let's do it together, and it's the roll up your sleeves and let's get this work done, and it's the results, right? So you see the results, you see what's possible in a master class, but in a coaching program, you actually get to the other side. You get to be a part of getting those results. And so huge difference. Okay. Thank you. All right, cool. For federal, it depends on what is stipulated in the contract. If it states cost plus or fixed price, then that's what it is. Oh yeah, thank you for asking that, because I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I just know how to sign a contract and get paid. All that other stuff, I don't really know. So, but anyway, I mean, but some stuff, like some is there's certain things that are important to know. Other things you'll learn along the way, and it's really only important if they're asking you, do you want this, right? Do you want a cost plus or fixed price? Like, all that stuff matters when you're about to get a contract. Like, it doesn't really matter until like that's a situation for you. But normally that is normally it's like yeah. So anyway, let me see. If you do the payment plan, do you not start training until no? Yeah, so if you start on a payment plan, you start the training. Yeah, you start the training right away. Yeah, so we don't hold you hostage like that. We actually work with you. And so that's why we're very selective of who we work with, because we like to work with people who have, of course, integrity and sincerity, who's really ready and serious about working together in their business to get it, get it done. So it just says Facebook user said cost plus just means the contractor is paid for their allowed expenses. Yeah, so like I'm saying, that doesn't matter. Great information. Thank you for doing this. You're welcome. Always great. Full of your time and dedication to making people see the potential for being great. Thank you, Trey. All right, so I got to go. Y'all, I'll talk to you all later. I'll see you next Friday on the Friday Live. You guys have a great weekend. Be safe, and I'll catch you next time.